24th April 2021. This was the last time this team lost a league game. Since then, they have pretty much won everything that is on offer in their country. But you've probably never heard of one of the most dominant football teams in history.
Akan membawa trofi ini untuk diraihkan bersama dengan rakan-rakan yang lain bagi pengesahan untuk Johor Darul Takzim diculang selaku juara Piala FA 2023. Satu lagi kejayaan yang terus tercatat untuk Sang Harimau Selatan. Kejayaan yang akan menyambut.
This is the story of Johor FC, the most dominant. Now, look, but it's important to put some context here. Look, Malaysian football is clearly nowhere in the top echelons of in terms of world football, and to say it wouldn't be right to compare. You just couldn't compare the success of this team with any your likes of your Manchester City's, Arsenal's Invincibles season, that sort of thing. But I guess the point is that they've gone out and achieved what they can. I mean, Johor is never going to play in the Premier League in England, so yeah, they can only win what they've got, and this team has pretty much done it, and it should be celebrated. But here's the story of probably one of the most dominant teams in world football that you've never heard of. The southern state of Johor is probably one of the richest, if not the richest, of the 13 states that make up Malaysia. Of course, having Singapore as your next door neighbor helps a lot, but Johor historically has always been one of the wealthiest of all the sultanates that now form modern day Malaysia. And yeah, like every other like the sultans of Selangor, Perak, Terengganu, etc. The Sultan of Johor's he's a mad football fan. They're mad about football. And the Sultan of Johor sits on the board of the Johor FA. Now, I went a few steps there. In Malaysia, of course, you have state FAs. Selangor, Kelantan, Kedah, Johor, etc. They all have an FA. I don't know what. There's not really an equivalent. Maybe. It's like saying Gloucestershire or Lancashire having an FA, or they do sort of have that in England, but certainly don't operate at the Premier League level. Whereas like Selangor FA, Johor FA, they've always sort of had a massive say on the domestic football scene and of course the national scene. But funnily enough, Johor's history is a little bit more of a modern one. In fact, for a very long time, the Johor FA had very little success. They were actually relegated from the top flight of Malaysian football. And this Johor Darul Takzim, the full name, this modern entity was formed sort of just not long after the start of the millennium as sort of like a separate body from the FA, with the Sultan's son taking sort of like ownership. Of their rises the construction of their Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Gelang Patah, which is sort of on the outskirts of Johor Bahru. It's truly, I mean, I think even compared to you even factoring the national stadium in Kuala Lumpur, the Bukit Jalil Stadium, which hosted the Commonwealth Games, this is truly an outstanding venue. Certainly one that is certainly more apt for football because it is a proper football stadium. But even compared to even factoring the national stadium in Kuala Lumpur, the Bukit Jalil Stadium, which hosted the Commonwealth Games, this is truly an outstanding venue. Certainly one that is certainly more apt for football because it is a proper football stadium. But just in terms of facilities, the design of it is is easily up there with some of the best stadiums in the world. But of course, Johor's success has all been, down to the club, what happens on the field. And that's where Johor has, led the way. Not only just led the way in Malaysian football, but they've kind of really pulled away. I think you could argue, that Johor is probably 2 or 3 laps ahead. If this was a Formula One, a motor race, and it's quite crazy to think, because Johor Bahru is of course not, Johor, while it is one of the most popular states, it's certainly not the most populous or arguably the powerhouse. I mean, Johor Bahru does have Singapore, but of course, you think Kuala Lumpur, the Klang Valley, for example, probably one of the most densely populated areas, not just in Southeast Asia and Asia, but in the world. Almost like where, yet, I mean, you look at Selangor's success, it's sort of been Selangor's historically been the most successful state team in terms of football, but yeah, Johor is certainly now in the last 10-15 years has certainly overtaken Selangor. And don't even talk about Kuala Lumpur or what, because I guess Kuala Lumpur is a bit, thinking of it's a bit like Berlin, where for the largest city in Malaysia by far, it hasn't really had much success in terms of football. Well, there's one thing you could say that Johor's success, if you could, they have certainly tried to have a lot of an Argentinian flair. Their current technical director, of course, is from Argentina. The current coach is, of course, Esteban Solari, who, if you recognize the name, he is actually brother of former Real Madrid player Santiago Solari, and that's actually quite a big football family. He is the current coach, and so has been the brains behind Johor's success in the last couple of years. Of course, you've got there's Fernando Forestieri, who English football fans might recognize from Sheffield Wednesday. They've somehow managed. I think it's a huge coup that they managed to get a player of sort of Forestieri's caliber to play in the Malaysian league, and he's been this season he's been their top scorer and a fine player. But the key, I guess, the one player who is absolutely unequivocally the linchpin of Johor's success in the last couple of years is Brazilian-born striker Bergson da Silva. Now, some football nerds who look at the stats a bit more may recognize the name, because Bergson da Silva was once on the top 10, was actually on the top 10 list, or in terms of number of goals scored per season across the world, and that's because of his number of goals he scored for Johor. Now, and look, Bergson, amazingly enough, Bergson, while he is the top scorer with 31 goals in this recently completed 2023 season, but he's still, with 31 goals, he wasn't the top scorer in the league. Nevertheless, look, I mean, it is quite clear Bergson is the man for Johor. He is pretty much like, he is what Erling Haaland is to Manchester City, or Kylian Mbappe to PSG, and I guess look, and of course, look, Johor there are plenty of Malaysian-born players and a couple of naturalized players. I think one example who is currently in the youth ranks is Fergus Tierney, who, yes, he is he's Scottish, no relation to the former Arsenal player. Fergus Tierney is the son of a former pundit player. His dad's football pundit. He did play in the Malaysian football league many years ago. He's become a naturalized Malaysian, and he has shown some promise. And he's made a couple of appearances for the Malaysian under-20s, so definitely one player to watch. So as I record this, Johor have completed their second consecutive unbeaten season, which, even in the scheme of, take all things considering the Malaysian league, the quality of the Malaysian league, and it is still a massive achievement. To go unbeaten once in a long campaign, the Malaysian league is, doesn't really follow the Northern Hemisphere. It goes by the year from January to December. It is still a long campaign, so to maintain that level of that success, not only just for 1 year but 2 years, is truly remarkable. Look, the Malaysian league Johor is clearly miles ahead of the next best team, but yeah, it is, you know, even when you're sleeps down there, you're always, you know, it's football where you have injuries, you're always bound to be, you know, you're always susceptible to a shot. But look, it is 24th April 21 when Johor lost to Terengganu at home in a shock 1-0 defeat. That's the last time Johor ever lost a game in domestic football. Not, you know, so it is truly a remarkable achievement, and they did it at the start of the season, finishing it off the campaign with an 8-0 win at home against Penang, which, you know, they're sort of not really mugs there. That's Johor FC, the most successful team, most dominant team that you've almost certainly never heard of. If you like this video, feel free to like, and don't forget to subscribe.